What the last digit of your birth year means will surprise you. Carl Jung philosophy. The mystery of your birth year. Have you ever stopped, really stopped, and asked yourself, why was I born in this exact year? Out of all the centuries, out of all the decades, why this one? Why not 100 years earlier or 100 years later? Out of billions of souls, why did your first breath enter the world at this precise moment in history? Carl Jung once said, numbers are the most primitive form of order. And he wasn't just talking about mathematics, he was pointing to something far deeper, that numbers are symbols, reflections of the unconscious, patterns woven into the fabric of existence itself. My friend, nothing in this universe is random. Not your name, not your face, not your story, and certainly not the year your soul was chosen to step into this world. That last digit in your birth year, the one most people ignore, is not meaningless. It is not just ink on a calendar. It is a whisper from the collective unconscious, a code, an archetype, an ancient language that has been speaking to humanity since the dawn of time. What if I told you that single digit at the end of your birth year is not an accident, but a symbol of your destiny? What if it carries with it a vibration, a hidden lesson, a mirror of who you are meant to become? Today, we're not here for fortune healing. This is not about superstition. This is about reflection, about depth, about unlocking the truth. Carl Jung spent his life exploring that the outer world and the inner world are connected by symbols, and numbers are the bridge. So stay with me, because in the next few moments, we are going to decode the hidden meaning behind the last digit of your birth year from 0 to 9. And when you discover what your number means, you will begin to see yourself, your struggles, your potential in an entirely new light. This, my friend, is where shadow meets self. This is where psychology meets destiny. And this is where you begin to understand that you were born exactly when you were meant to be. Number 0, the circle of wholeness. 0, the most silent of numbers, yet the loudest in meaning. At first glance, it looks like nothing, just an empty circle, a void. But Carl Jung saw what many miss. In the unconscious, 0 is not nothingness. It is everything. It is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. If your birth year ends with 0, it is not by chance. It is the universe marking your soul with the signature of infinity. Jung studied the mandala, those circular patterns appearing in dreams and ancient cultures across the world. He discovered that the circle is the purest symbol of the psyche's wholeness. 0 is that mandala. To be born under this number is to carry a sacred task, the journey of individuation, the uniting of all fragmented parts within you. Ego, persona, shadow, and the self must no longer be separate. They must be woven into one complete circle. Your life will not be ordinary. Why? Because 0 carries both emptiness and fullness at once. You may often feel lost, incomplete, as though something is missing. That is the void calling you inward. Yet, when you embrace it, you will also taste fullness, abundance, and balance that others may never know. This paradox, nothing yet everything, is the riddle of your soul's path. Think about it. A circle has no beginning, no end. It cannot be broken. If you are a child of 0, you are designed to search for unity in a divided world. You are the one who feels torn between opposites, light and darkness, strength and weakness, hope and despair. Yet your destiny is to realize that they are not enemies but reflections of the same whole. Many born with 0 at the end of their birth year often carry a deep spiritual hunger. They sense that life is more than money, status, or surface-level achievements. You, too, may feel restless until you find meaning beyond material success. For you, wholeness is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And once you commit to this path, the universe itself will conspire to pull you into deeper truths, even if it means shaking up your comfort. But here is the challenge: to live under the circle is to face cycles, repetition, patterns, lessons returning again and again until you learn them. You may notice the same struggles repeating, relationships, fears, setbacks, as if life is looping. This is not punishment. This is initiation. 0 demands that you break the cycle not by running away, but by stepping into it consciously until the loop transforms into wisdom. The shadow plays a strong role in your journey. Jung taught us that the parts of ourselves we reject are the keys to our wholeness. As a child of zero, you must face your shadow directly. Every fear, every insecurity, every hidden desire. These are not flaws to erase, but fragments waiting to be integrated. Only when you embrace the parts you've denied can the circle finally close and your soul rest in completion. So remember this: if your birth year ends with 0, you are marked with the archetype of eternity. You are the bridge between emptiness and infinity, between shadow and light, between beginning and end. Your life is about wholeness, about becoming a living Mandela, and when you succeed, you will not only transform yourself, you will radiate balance and harmony into the world just by being who you truly are. That is the destiny of 0. Number 1, the birth of the self. 1 is the first spark of existence, the number of beginnings, of creation, of a voice rising out of silence. If your birth year ends with 1, you are marked by the energy of identity. This is the birth of the ego, not in the shallow sense of arrogance, but in the divine sense of awakening to I am. The world around you might define you by labels, by roles, by expectations, but the soul of 1 whispers something deeper. Who are you truly? Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." The is the journey of those born under 1. You are not meant to dissolve in the crowd. You are not designed to follow silently. You are the pioneer, the trailblazer, the one who dares to separate, to step forward and to say, "This is me." That is both your challenge and your gift, to carve your own identity in a world that constantly pressures you to conform. The road of 1 is a road of courage. It is not always easy to stand apart. Many will misunderstand you, resist you, or even envy you. But here's the paradox. Your strength is born in solitude. Just as the first man who dared to walk upright must have seemed strange to his tribe, you too may often feel like the outsider. Yet this outsiderness is not a curse. It is proof that you are ahead of your time, carrying the torch of individuality. Your life will constantly ask you, will you be authentic or will you imitate? Every choice you make is a test of alignment with your true self. To be born with 1 is to live under the call of authenticity, and authenticity requires risk. Risk of rejection, risk of loneliness, risk of failure. But the greater risk is never knowing who you really are because you lived only for others' approval. That is not your path. Your path is to stand tall in your truth. People born with 1 at the end of their year often feel a fire inside, a restlessness, a drive that refuses to stay silent. This is the energy of the pioneer. You are wired to start things, to initiate movements, to break old patterns. But remember, with great energy comes responsibility. If you misuse this fire, it can burn you and others. If you channel it with wisdom, it can light the way for generations after you. The shadow of 1 is arrogance, the temptation to believe that being first makes you better. Jung reminds us that the ego must serve the self, not replace it. Your task is to balance individuality with humility. True leadership is not about standing above people. It is about standing in your truth so firmly that others find the courage to do the same. When you master this balance, you don't just create followers, you create other leaders. 1 is also the number of beginnings, and beginnings are never perfect. You will stumble, you will doubt, you will face voices both inside and outside that tell you to quit. But the spirit of 1 refuses to be silenced. Every fall is a rehearsal for your rise. Every setback is fuel for your identity. You are not here to live a borrowed life. You are here to write the first chapter of a story only you can tell. So if your birth year ends with 1, remember this: your destiny is to embody the courage of individuality, to step out of the crowd and say, I am here. I am unique. I am whole. The world may not always applaud, but deep within your soul will know the truth. You honored the greatest privilege of all, becoming who you truly are. That is the gift of 1. That is the birth of the self. Number 2, duality of the psyche. 2 is the number of duality. Where 1 stands alone, 2 introduces tension. It is the mirror. 2 sides, 2 poles, 2 truths that seem to oppose but secretly belong to the same whole. If your birth year ends with 2, your soul carries the vibration of contrast. You are born into the dance between shadow and light, love and fear, masculine and feminine. Your journey is not to pick a side, but to learn the art of holding both without breaking. Carl Jung taught us that every psyche is split. Within every man lives the anima, the feminine soul. Within every woman lives the animus, the masculine spirit. 2 is the number that awakens you to this reality. If you carry this number, you will often feel pulled in opposite directions, longing for peace yet wrestling with conflict. This tension is not a curse. It is your initiation into wholeness. You are the bridger. People born under 2 are often peacemakers, healers, mediators, the ones who can sit between enemies and find common ground. But before you can unite others, you must first unite yourself. You must reconcile your own contradictions. The part of you that wants control and the part that longs for surrender, the part that seeks love and the part that fears it. The world outside will mirror the conflict inside until you accept both as yours. Your life may feel like a constant tug-of-war. At times you'll feel split, torn between choices, unsure of your path. This is the price of duality. But here's the secret. Duality exists so you can transcend it. 2 does not mean half and half. 2 means 2 becoming 1. Your destiny is to rise above division, to see that shadow and light are not enemies. They are dance partners, each giving meaning to the other. Relationships play a powerful role in your journey. As a child of 2, you are wired for connection. But relationships will not just bring you joy, they will trigger your deepest wounds. Why? Because every bond is a mirror. The people you attract will reveal the hidden sides of you, the tend. Earnest you deny, the anger you repress, the love you're afraid to receive. Every relationship is a classroom. And the lesson is always integration. The shadow of 2 is indecision. Because you feel both sides so deeply, you may struggle to choose. You may hesitate, delay, or overthink. But remember, balance does not come from avoiding choice. It comes from embracing choice with awareness. Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. You will only grow by stepping into the discomfort of choice, learning from both sides and carrying the wisdom forward. 2 also holds a spiritual secret. Polarity creates energy. Just as a battery needs positive and negative charge to generate power, your psyche needs shadow and light to create transformation. When you finally accept both sides of your nature, the angel and the beast, the giver and the taker, you will unlock a deeper strength than those who only live in one extreme. Integration is not weakness. It is ultimate power. So your birth year ends with 2. Know this. Your destiny is to be a healer of opposites. You are the peacemaker, the reconciler, the one who shows the world that wholeness is born when duality is embraced. Do not fear your contradictions. They are the raw material of your greatness. Unite them, and you will not only transform your own psyche, you will become a mirror for others, guiding them toward their own integration. That is the gift of 2. Number 3, creativity, the trinity of the psyche. 3 is the number of movement, the rhythm of life itself, where 1 stands alone and 2 creates tension. 3 introduces harmony in motion. It is the spark of creation, the laughter in chaos, the divine triangle that binds opposites into a new form. If your birth year ends with 3, you are born under the archetype of creativity and expression. You are not here just to live. You are here to create, to bring forth something new that didn't exist before you. Carl Jung saw 3 as the num, of dynamic wholeness, ego, shadow, and self. The holy trinity of the psyche, past, present, and future. The trinity of time, body, mind, and soul. The trinity of being. If you carry the number 3, your life is about learning to keep these forces in motion, to balance without becoming rigid. You are meant to dance with life, to flow, to transform yourself, and inspire others to do the same. Creativity is your lifeblood. Those born under 3 cannot stay silent for long. There is always a song to sing, a story to tell, a vision to share. You feel life not just with your mind, but with your entire being, and you ache to give that feeling form. Whether through art, words, movement, or innovation, you are destined to be an expression of the divine mystery. Your joy is your message. Your imagination is your power. But here lies the paradox. The gift of creativity also brings the burden of restlessness. You may struggle with focus, jumping from one idea to another, afraid of being trapped. D. This is the shadow of 3, the temptation to scatter energy instead of grounding it. Jung would remind you creativity is not just about expression, it is about integration. When you channel your energy with discipline, you transform scattered sparks into a fire that can light up the world. 3 is also the number of play. Those with this number often carry a childlike spirit, a lightness that others find magnetic. You remind people that life is not just suffering, it is also joy, laughter, color, and beauty. But don't mistake play for shallowness. Play is one of the most sacred forces in the psyche. It is through play that transformation happens. You bring this gift wherever you go, turning pain into art, turning chaos into rhythm, turning wounds into wisdom. Relationships for a 3 are vibrant and full of exchange. You are the storyteller, the entertainer, the friend who brings life to any room. But you must be careful not to hide behind performance. Sometimes the one who makes others laugh the most carries the heaviest sadness inside. Jung called this the wounded healer archetype. Your task is to let your creativity heal not just others, but yourself as well. The trinity of 3 also means you walk between time, haunted by the past, alive in the present yet dreaming of the future. This can overwhelm you, but it also empowers you. You have the unique ability to take lessons from the past, beauty from the present, and vision from the future, and weave them into something timeless. You are the bridge between what was, what is, and what will be. So if your birth year ends with 3, remember this. You are the embodiment of creativity, joy, and transformation. Your life is not meant to be lived in silence. It is meant to be expressed, shared, celebrated. You are the dancer in life's eternal play, the voice that turns suffering into song, the visionary who shows the world that even in the darkest night, light can be born again. That is your destiny. That is the power of 3. Number 4, the foundation of reality. 4 is not just a number. It is a pillar, a foundation. Where 3 danced with creativity, 4 arrives with grounding, stability, and order. Carl Jung saw 4 as the most sacred symbol of the psyche. Why? Because it represents the quaternity, the fourfold structure through which the human soul becomes whole. If your birth year ends with 4, your life is marked by this vibration. You are called to bring structure where there is chaos, order where there is confusion, and balance where there is fragmentation. The quaternity holds the 4 functions of the psyche: thinking, feeling, sensing, and intuition. These are not random traits, they are the building blocks of human consciousness. Most people live unbalanced, dominated by 1 or 2 functions. But if you are born under 4, your destiny is to weave these functions together into harmony, to think with clarity, to feel with depth, to sense with grounding, and to intuit it with vision. You are the integrator of the psyche.
4 is also reflected in the world outside you. The 4 directions:
North, south, east, west, the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, air. The 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. Everywhere you look, 4 is the symbol of wholeness, of nature's eternal balance. To carry this number is to carry responsibility. You are the stabilizer, the one people lean on when storms arrive. You are the rock in shifting sands, the tree whose roots hold firm when winds rage. But stability does not mean stillness, it means resilience. You are not called to escape chaos, but to hold your ground within it. Jung said, quaternity is a symbol of wholeness. This is your task, to embody wholeness, to show by your life that balance is possible even in a world of extremes. People will look to you not for noise, but for presence, not for quick answers, but for steady guidance. The shadow of 4 is rigidity. Because you are wired for structure, you may sometimes cling too tightly to order, afraid of change. But remember this, a foundation must be strong but not unyielding. Even stone erodes when it refuses to adapt. Your growth comes when you learn to hold structure and flexibility together, to be firm without being hard, to be grounded without being stuck. This balance is your spiritual mastery. Relationships for a 4 often revolve around being the anchor. You may be the dependable one, the loyal one, the person others rely on in times of chaos, but here is the danger. Do not let yourself become a prison of duty. Yes, you are the rock, but you are also human. You must learn to receive support as much as you give it. True balance is not carrying the world alone, but knowing when to lean back into the universe and trust. Your life path will often challenge you with instability, financial struggles, broken systems, shaky relationships. Why? Because the soul of 4 is forged in chaos, you are tested by disorder so you can discover
your power to build order.
Every storm that shakes your foundation is secretly strengthening it. Every collapse you endure is training you to become the architect of a stronger structure. You are not destroyed by instability. You are defined by how you rise above it. So if your birth year ends with 4, remember this. You are the living symbol of balance, the foundation upon which transformation can stand. You are here to embody the quaternity, to ground the wild forces of life into harmony. The world will know you not by how loud you speak, but by how steady you remain. You are the rock in the river, the root in the storm, the balance in the chaos. That is the destiny of 4. That is the gift of reality made whole. Number 5, transformation chaos. 5 is the number of movement, freedom, and change. Where 4 built the stable foundation, 5 comes to shake it, to test it, to transform it. Carl Jung believed that growth does not come through comfort, but through conflict, through the breaking of old forms, so something new can be born. If your birth year ends with 5, you are not here to live a predictable life. You are here to evolve again and again, like fire reshaping everything it touches. The essence of 5 is chaos. But chaos is not destruction. It is creation in disguise. Think of the caterpillar. It must dissolve into chaos inside the cocoon before it can emerge as a butterfly. This is your destiny. You will go through cycles where the old you must die, where old beliefs, old habits, old versions of yourself crumble. Painful, yes, but necessary, because without this dissolution, the new self cannot emerge. Jung taught us about individuation, the process of becoming whole. For those born under 5, individuation happens through transformation after transformation. You cannot remain who you were last year, last month, even yesterday. Your soul demands renewal. This can make you restless, always seeking, always moving. But understand, your restlessness is a weakness. It is the fuel that pushes you to discover new horizons of the self. Freedom is your heartbeat. People with 5 in their birth year cannot be caged for long. Whether in relationships, careers, or beliefs, you resist being trapped. But freedom without purpose can lead to chaos without meaning. This is your challenge to turn freedom into growth, to channel your hunger for change into transformation that uplifts you and those around you. True freedom is not running from responsibility. It is discovering who you are when all masks fall away. The shadow of 5 is rebellion for the sake of rebellion. You may burn bridges just to feel alive or chase endless novelty without depth. But remember, transformation is not about running away. It is about breaking chains that no longer serve you. Jung would remind you that the unconscious always seeks balance. If you rebel without reflection, you will circle back to the same chaos. But if you rebel with awareness, you evolve into
one greater every time.
Relationships for a 5 are intense, fiery, and often turbulent. Why? Because you are not afraid of change and you unconsciously bring transformation wherever you go. Some will find this magnetic. Others will find it terrifying. You may attract partners who fear losing control, yet they are drawn to your fire. Your task is to learn that love itself must evolve. Clinging kills it. Freedom breathes life into it. Life will test you with storms. Jobs will end. People will leave. Plans will collapse. But each collapse is not your end. It is your initiation. You are being forged like steel in fire. Jung said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. Every loss, every breakdown, every turning point in your life hides a deeper order, the transformation of your soul into its truest self. So if your birth year ends with 5, know this. You are the child of transformation, the rebel of change, the fire that refuses to be extinguished. Your destiny is not stability. It is evolution. You are here to shed skins, to reinvent, to rise from your own ashes again and again. You are not chaos, you are creation in motion. And when you embrace this truth, you become unstoppable. That is the gift of 5. That is the power of transformation. Number 6, service integration. 6 is the number of responsibility and service. Where 5 brought chaos and transformation, 6 arrives with healing and restoration. If your birth year ends with 6, your life is marked by a sacred duty to care, to serve, to integrate. Carl Jung saw 6 as the tension between the personal and the collective. You are not here only for yourself. You are here to bridge your own growth with the healing of others, to live in a way that uplifts more than just your own story. 6 also carries the archetype of the nurturer. You are wired to notice pain, to feel when something is broken, and to step forward with compassion. This makes you a natural healer, guide, or protector. But here's the challenge. In helping others, will you lose yourself? Or will you learn to balance giving with being? Your destiny is not self-sacrifice. It is service with authenticity, where you help the world without betraying your own soul. Carl Jung spoke about the persona, the mask we wear in society to be accepted. For those born under 6, this is a lifelong struggle. Will you live behind the mask, always pleasing others, maintaining appearances, or will you dare to integrate the persona with the true self? This is your test to drop the illusion of perfection and show the world your authentic being. Real service comes not from the mask, but from the heart. 6 is also the number of integration. Your psyche will constantly push you to unite what feels separate. Personal desires with collective duty, outer image with inner truth, service to others with care for yourself. Many times you will feel torn between living for society's expectations or following your soul's voice. The easy path is to stay in the mask. The harder but nobler path is to integrate, to live as one whole being. Relationships for a 6 are often karmic classrooms. You attract people who need healing, people who lean on you, people who test your boundaries. This is no accident. It is your soul's training. But you must learn this truth. Healing others does not mean carrying their burdens as your own. You are here to guide, not to rescue, to love, not to lose yourself. Your greatest gift to others is the example of a life lived authentically. The shadow of 6 is over-responsibility. You may feel guilty for saying no, guilty for choosing yourself, guilty for stepping back. But Jung would remind you, wholeness requires balance. A healer who never heals themselves eventually burns out. Your lesson is to understand that boundaries are not selfish. They are sacred. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Your soul's service becomes powerful only when rooted in self-integration. 6 also vibrates harmony. You are drawn to beauty, peace, and unity, but often you'll find yourself in the middle of conflict because your destiny is to be the peacemaker. Not by avoiding conflict, but by showing that authentic resolution comes when truth and compassion meet. Jung taught that tension, when endured, becomes transformation. You are here to hold that tension until it turns into healing. So if your birth year ends with 6, remember this: you are the healer, the servant, the integrator. Your life will constantly ask you, will you live for appearances or will you live authentically? When you choose authenticity, your service to the world becomes unshakable. Your presence becomes healing and your soul becomes whole. That is the destiny of 6, not to be perfect, but to be real. And in that realness, to become a light for others. Number 7, the seeker of wisdom. 7 has always carried a vibration of mystery and depth. Across cultures, 7 is sacred. 7 heavens, 7 days, 7 saint ages of life. For Jung, 7 was not about the outer world, but about the inner journey, the descent into the unconscious where true wisdom lies. If your birth year ends with 7, you are not here to live a surface life. You are here to search, to question, to dig deeper than appearances until you touch truth itself. Carl Jung once said, "Unto looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes," and this is the soul of 7. You are the seeker, the philosopher, the mystic. Shallow answers never satisfy you. You crave meaning, you hunger for truth, and your life will not allow you to settle until you turn inward and begin the real journey. The awakening of the self through reflection, solitude, and exploration of the unconscious. Those marked by 7 often feel different from others. While the crowd chases noise, you are drawn to silence. While the world is distracted by the external, you feel pulled toward the hidden, the symbolic, the spiritual. This can make you feel lonely at times, It's understood, even disconnected. But understand, solitude is not your punishment. It is your initiation. Silence is the soil where your wisdom grows. 7 is the archetype of the inner pilgrim. Your life path is not straight. It is winding, full of questions, doubts, and revelations. You will face crises of meaning, moments where everything you believed collapses. These are not breakdowns, they are breakthroughs. Each collapse forces you deeper, stripping away illusions until only truth remains. Jung called this the night sea journey, a descent into darkness that leads to awakening. The gift of 7 is insight. You see patterns others miss. You can connect symbols, dreams, and synchronicities into wisdom that feels timeless. But this gift comes with responsibility, not to get lost in overthinking. The shadow of 7 is becoming trapped in the mind, an endless seeker who never arrives. True wisdom comes not from thinking more, but from integrating what you discover into how you live. Relationships for a 7 are often intense because you seek depth, not superficiality. You want connections that touch the soul, conversations that open inner worlds, bonds that feel like mirrors of truth. Shallow relationships bore you, but here lies your challenge. Do not isolate completely. Even seekers need community, for wisdom grows stronger when shared. Your task is to balance solitude with connection, inner journey with outer expression. Spiritual awakening is the destiny of 7. You may be drawn to meditation, philosophy, psychology, or mystical practices, not because they are hobbies, but because they are doors to yourself. The unconscious will speak to you through dreams, symbols, and intuition. Pay attention. Jung believed the unconscious is not chaos, but wisdom waiting to be discovered for you. Every dream, every sign, every synchronicity is a message guiding you toward awakening. So if your birth year ends with 7, remember this: you are the seeker of wisdom, the PH. Philosopher of the soul, the one who cannot rest until the truth is known. You will be tested with loneliness, doubt, and darkness. But every shadow you face is a doorway to awakening. Your destiny is not to live asleep, but to awaken, and in your awakening to inspire others to look within. That is the gift of 7. That is the path of the seeker. Number 8, power resurrection. 8 has always been the number of power, rebirth, and infinity. Turn it sideways and you see the symbol of eternity itself. In the Christian tradition, the 8th day represents resurrection, the day beyond creation, the day of new life. In Jungian psychology, 8 becomes the archetype of the eternal cycle. Death followed by rebirth, endings followed by new beginnings. If your birth year ends with 8, you are marked with a vibration of authority, transformation, and abundance. Your soul is not here for a small story. It is here for impact. But with this power comes responsibility. To be born under 8 is to be entrusted with energy that can either build or destroy. You are destined to wield influence, to hold positions of strength, to attract opportunities for wealth, leadership, or recognition. Yet Jung reminds us power without soul corrupts. If you chase only material success, you risk becoming hollow. Your destiny is to balance the material with the spiritual, to remember that abundance without meaning is still emptiness. 8 is also the number of cycles. Life for those born under 8 is rarely linear. It comes in waves of rise, fall, and resurrection. You may taste success, lose it all, and rebuild stronger than before. You may endure betrayals, failures, or collapses, only to discover that every ending was a disguised beginning. Like the phoenix rising from ashes, your soul is forged in fire. Jung would say, an unconscious demands transformation, and for you, this means constant rebirth. Authority is your calling. People with 8 in their birth year are natural leaders, not always because seek power, but because power seeks them. Others sense your strength, your resilience, your capacity to hold pressure. You are the one people turn to in crisis, the one who carries weight without breaking. But beware, authority is not domination. Real authority, Jung would say, is when the ego serves the self, when power is guided by wisdom rather than control. The shadow of 8 is greed and control, because you are wired for abundance. The temptation will always be to chase more money, more status, more recognition. But unchecked ambition becomes a trap. You can conquer the world and still feel empty inside. Your true path is mastery, not of others, but of yourself. When you master your own desires, fears, and shadows, then your external power becomes unshakable. Without this inner grounding, external power will eventually collapse. 8 also carries the vibration of karma. In Jung's language, this means the psyche's demand for balance. Whatever you give to the world retu, RNS to you multiplied. If you use power selfishly, it will turn against you. If you use it wisely, it will create blessings for generations. Your life will constantly test how you wield influence. Will you build empires for the ego or legacies for the soul? The answer determines whether your story becomes a warning or an inspiration. Relationships for an 8 can be both magnetic and turbulent. You attract people who are drawn to your strength, your charisma, your aura of authority. But some will also fear you, envy you, or try to control you. Love for an 8 is a mirror of power. If you misuse it, relationships become battles for dominance. But when you learn humility, compassion, and balance, your partnerships become sources of renewal, grounding, and resurrection. So if your birth year ends with 8, hear this truth. You are the child of resurrection, the bearer of abundance, the leader marked by destiny. Your path is not about escaping power, it is about embodying it with wisdom. You are here to show the world that true authority is not about control, but about service. That wealth without meaning is poverty, but wealth with soul can transform lives. You are the infinity symbol walking, proof that death is never the end, only the doorway to rebirth. That is the destiny of 8. Number 9, completion transcendence. 9 is the number of completion. Where 8 symbolized power and resurrection, 9 represents the last step, the closing of a cycle, the soul's preparation for renewal. Carl Jung saw 9 as the threshold, the final stage before a new beginning. If your birth year ends with 9, you are marked with the energy of endings, compassion, and transcendence. You are not here for small lessons. You are here to carry the wisdom of many lifetimes, to embody love that is bigger than the self. 9 is the number of compassion. Those born under this number often feel deeply for the world's suffering. You are the empath, the one whose heart cannot turn away Rom pain. But Jung would remind you compassion is not pity, it is strength. To feel and forgive, to love without possession, to give without demand. That is your gift. Your destiny is not only to heal yourself, but to radiate healing into the lives of others like a light shining at the end of the tunnel. Completion does not chon or power, but your soul will always pull you toward transcendence. To be born under 9 is to be chosen to embody universal love, the love that asks for nothing in return, the love that mirrors the self itself. The shadow of 9 is martyrdom. Because you care so deeply, you may lose yourself in serving others, forgetting your own needs. You may carry guilt or feel burdened by the world's pain. But true transcendence is not about destroying yourself for others. It is about elevating yourself so your presence naturally heals. Jung would say the self does not need sacrifice, it needs alignment. Your task is to give without losing your own soul in the process. Relationships for a 9 often mirror this theme of completion. You may experience karmic bonds that feel destined only to end when their lesson is learned. These endings may break your heart, but they are preparing you for deeper love, the kind of love that is not based on possession but on freedom. You teach others that V is eternal even when relationships change. Because true love is not about holding. It is about letting the soul grow. 9 is also the number of wisdom. You have lived through many cycles and your soul carries ancient knowledge. This makes you a natural guide, mentor, or teacher. People sense your depth even when you stay silent. But your wisdom is not meant to remain hidden. You are called to share it through words, actions, creativity, or simply the way you live. Your life itself is a message that endings can be beautiful and transcendence is possible. So if your birth year ends with 9, remember this. You are the soul of completion, the bearer of compassion, the guide of transcendence. You carry the energy of endings, not as tragedy, but as sacred preparation for new beginnings. Your destiny is to rise above the ego, to embody the self, and to live as proof that love is the highest power of all. This is the final gift of 9, the closing of the circle and the opening of eternity. C. Conclusion, the destiny of your digit. Think about it, my friend. From 0, the circle of wholeness, to 99, the completion and transcendence. Every number is not just mathematics. It is psychology. It is archetype. It is soul code. Carl Jung spent his life teaching that nothing in the unconscious is random. And your last digit of birth year, it was never a coincidence. It is a mirror of who you are meant to become. It is a seed of destiny planted into your very birth. It is the whisper of the self guiding you back home. The truth is, your life was never an accident. The moment you entered this world, you carried with you a pattern, a path, a calling. Some of you are called to heal, some to lead, some to break chains, some to create. But all of you, every single one, are called to wake up. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Now you know your number. Now you know the hidden pattern behind your birth. The question is, will you live unconsciously or will you rise into your destiny? This is your moment. This is your wake-up call. Don't just know your number. Become it. Live it. Embody it. Because when you do, you don't just change yourself. You transform the world. If this message shook something inside you, drop your birth year in the comments and tell me your number. Like this video if you felt the truth resonate, and subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Together, we'll keep decoding the mysteries of your soul.